Last week, my parish at Campbelltown had a celebratory mass celebrating 200 years since the first Catholic mass in Campbelltown. Father John Terry rode his horse out from Sydney, about the 60 or 70 kilometres, and set up in Mawson Park, and they started saying mass. And then, of course, being this time of year, the rains came down, and so they quickly scampered into the adjacent Anglican church, which was just in the process of being built. It at least had a roof to keep them dry. There wasn't much in Campbelltown in those days, but there was a small Catholic community. The Irish were there. And so that marked 200 years since that first Catholic Mass in Campbelltown. It shows how young the church is in this part of the world. The entire evangelization of the Pacific has happened in that time, and indeed the entire history of the missionaries of the Sacred Heart. Hello, my name's Sean Donovan. You're watching Mission Alive from the MSC Mission Office. It got me thinking that it might be a good opportunity, that 200 years and that Mass last week got me thinking to talk about some of the books that we have available that you may be interested in. So the first one is this weighty tome called The Mustard Seed. And this is about largely the French mission to the Papuan Church, Papua New Guinea, the Papuan part of Papua New Guinea. And it is in fact a reprint of the book. The original book was printed some years ago and then went out of print. So a couple of years ago, just before the pandemic hit, actually, Roger decided to reprint the Mustard Seed book. And so here it is. We have the reprint. And George Delbo was the original author of the book and goes through all the history of the missionaries up there in Papua and lots of the stories. So very interesting, long read, but worth going for. And then sort of adjunct to that, subsequently, Roger collated a number of writings into this book, a branch of the Mustard Seed, the Catholic Church in Port Moresby and Borrogano, Rigo, Papua New Guinea. So if you like, as a follow-on to the Mustard Seed, a somewhat smaller book, a little bit easier read, but it has a number of stories by different, I don't know whether you can see that, some of the writers there of some of the stories in here, and also some of the pictures and so forth of the missions up there in Papua New Guinea. So again, a little bit easier, smaller, shorter read. In terms of the Australian church and things that were happening here, we have this book written by Frank Fletcher, published posthumously, Jesus and the Dreaming, about the Australian spirituality through an Aboriginal Christian dialogue. And again, fairly weighty and informative book. So if you're more interested in the sort of the theological sort of bent of things, then this could be a good book to get hold of. I'm not sure how that's coming out there. And you can sort of see a nice read. And then finally, a very recent publication. This one from Sister Helen Warman at the Olf Sisters, A Grand Adventure, Memoirs of a Missionary Nun. So some of her stories there, just published in the past year or so. A little bit about Yule Island there, you can see that. So again, a good read, nice length for maybe a Sunday afternoon read. Now, all of these are available. We have them in terms of numbers. The $20 for the Ground Adventure, which goes back to Sister Helen Warman to replenish her funds to maybe print another book. The Jesus and the Dreaming. I have to check on the website for the price of that one. We have quite a number of these books, so get in for those. A Branch of the Mustard Seed. We have a number of those, but the rarest of the rare is the mustard seed. So we have very few copies left of the mustard seed. They've largely gone. So get in for all of those, or you can just write us here at the Mission Office to inquire about them. So the cost of the book plus postage, whatever that happens to be at the moment. And yes, maybe you're interested in history. They'd be very interesting for you, or a family member who might be interested in history. And of course, with Christmas coming up, could be a good time to get those Christmas presents for the avid readers amongst the family. So thank you for joining me today, and we'll have more in the coming days.